my lovely, Sophia here, Psychic Tarot reader, personal mentor. Welcome back to my channel, Sophia's Psychic Tarot. So today's beautiful success story is from a viewer who wants to remain anonymous for reasons that her and her SP are still married. But yeah, this lady has had mentoring from me, as it becomes evident from the story. So I'm going to be reading it off my big computer because obviously I film on my iPad and my phone doesn't have apps and things on it. It's a little old-fashioned. So I can't read it off that. So hey ho. So I'm going to be looking over here at it. So let's get into the story anyway. Hello Sophia, I would like you to share my success story with your viewers, as hopefully my story may inspire many others. First, I want to thank you with all my heart for your faith in me and your tough love. Ha ha ha. She's put ha ha ha. Of course, you know my story, but for your viewers, my journey started in 2017. I was married and my SP was married. We had both been married for a while to our spouses, but when we met, the spark between us was instant. At first we started flirting and then we started to see each other. However, after a few months our affair was discovered and it was game over. We both decided to stay with our spouses so as not to break up our families. The breakup happened at the beginning of 2018. The loss was unbearable as we had vowed to never contact each other again. In my heart, I knew this could not really be the end, and after a few weeks of really not being able to get out of this deep sorrow and missing him so much, I searched the internet for answers as to why I could not get over my SP. I came across twin flames, the runner-chaser aspect, the dark night of the soul, and that we had lessons to learn and so on. I had already been to a local psychic and one on telephone lines. One had told me our paths would never cross again, and one said we would be together within a few weeks. I watched star sign videos and they too said we would be together. I started watching twin flame tarot readings after I found out what this was, and they too were saying that we loved each other and so on, and said union was imminent and others said obstacles to overcome. As the weeks then months went by, I just felt him so much and I couldn't put my heart and soul back into my marriage, as I was waiting for him to come back and tell me how much he really loved me and missed me. Well, after a year and a half of nothing happening, still watching tarot readings, I just resigned myself to the fact that we would never be together and that the lesson I had learnt was to just be a better person, and I dealt with a lot of insecurities and so on. Let me just scroll up here. I continued to watch readings every now and again whenever I hit a low spot, but things were getting back to normal in my marriage, even though my heart felt like a piece was missing, but I felt normal again and not like I was dying. In March 2020, I came across Sophia's channel and listened to her videos. I connected to her and watched her videos and got a reading. Sophia told me that the connection was still there because I still desired him in my heart, and it wasn't over until I decided it was, not him or anyone else. There was no action being taken from him at that point, although he missed me, but if I wanted there to be, then I had to change from within. Another month went by before I decided that I did indeed have to do something about it, as Sophia had said. Watching endless readings of hearing that we loved each other wasn't changing anything in my life. After all, here I was just over 2 years of no contact and still missing him, but nothing had changed, despite hearing goodness knows how many readings saying that we would be together soon. Enough, I thought. I have to try another option. I had nothing to lose. In May 2020, I decided to get mentoring from Sophia and realised that I had been telling myself so many, she put, negative things and believing all sorts of things to be true. When in fact, like Sophia said, these were things I had chosen to tell myself were true and not 100% fact. And also that I was still very negative, even though I thought I was being positive. However, it was true what Sophia said because I was still telling myself a load of negative things about the situation. Sophia pointed out my blocks and where the resistance was, and armed with my new information, affirmations, and so on from the mentoring, I started to create my new movie. In June, about a month of affirming, nothing had changed. I contacted Sophia again, and she pointed out where I was going wrong. For one, I had not been persistent in my affirmations. I had just been doing them in a haphazard way, but had mainly still been telling myself the old beliefs and assumptions. So I was saying affirmations once in a while, but I was then drifting off thinking about what happened, how much I missed him, and that we could never be together because of our marriages and how we had put our marriages before us. I was still checking my phone for the magic text and really missing him. I was going back into the twin flame thoughts of how we had this difficult road to go on, divine timing, and so on. Sophia gave me some tough love. Like any mentor would do, and told me to either be on my strict mental diet and affirming and seeing us together, feeling as if we were together, and stop seeing him as the enemy resisting me and that everyone is me pushed out. He was acting the way I was thinking him to be. Or move on and forget about him once and for all. In other words, if I couldn't let go of the old story I kept replaying, then the new story could not come in. I decided to take a break for a week or so and focused on myself again first, really working on that I was good enough, worthy, loved, valued, and so on, and did things for me. Then, feeling refreshed, I got back on my mental diet. I did not let any negative thoughts about what had happened before come in, and if they started to, I went on an affirmation rampage. I also did affirmations continually throughout the day. I knew that Sophia had said we do the what we want and why we want it, and the universe brings us the how and the when. So during July and August, I really stuck to my mental diet. I did not check my phone like I was possessed and went about my life feeling like our relationship was so real and an everyday thing. Okay, I did notice obviously that he wasn't in my arms, but in my mind he was, and our relationship was real. As Sophia said, we have to believe it before we see it. What we persist in becomes our new reality. It has to. That is the law of the universe and the law of assumption. What we assume to be true becomes our reality. It was on the 4th of September and I had been out shopping with my friend. We had had a lovely time together. About 3 hours later, I decided to check my emails. I could not believe it, but there it was, an email from my SP. I think my heart actually stopped. He told me how much he missed me, how he had never stopped thinking about me, and apologised for contacting me as we said we wouldn't, but he had to take that chance, even if I ignored him or told him to go away and that I was happy with my husband. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. In fact, I did both. I can imagine this client doing that, yeah. His email was practically everything I had been affirming. He loves me, he wants only me, and he only has eyes for me. He is contacting me, begging to see me, and so on. The powerful affirmations Sophia had given me, the tough love, and my strict mental diet had finally worked at last. I emailed back in a positive way. I was not that needy, desperate person I was before, and I had changed. I had no fear now, as I knew I created my reality and that this was my movie and he was just me pushed out. I replied back casually, saying hello and how nice it was to hear from him, and in a very, very played down way said that I too had thought about him many times. In brackets she's put, every freaking day, lol. But I didn't put that, and that it was nice hearing from him. I gave him my mobile number in the email and said if he needed to contact me, he could. Well, that was over 2 weeks. That was over 2 weeks ago now, and we contact each other every day. I am not like before though, texting and pining like a lovesick teenager. I am going at my pace and affirming all the things I still want him to be saying to me and how I want him to act towards me. His text messages and our phone calls are showing him turn up as that new person I have been creating him to be and treating me the way I want. We met up last week as I didn't know how I would actually feel seeing him. After all, 2 years had gone by, and it is different holding on to memories in your heart, but actually seeing him, perhaps I might feel like I didn't want him again. Bless. However, although both slightly older, our eyes still had that passion and our love for each other, and our hearts knew too. Oh. We hugged each other and held hands like lovesick teenagers. Lol, she's put. And it was then we knew that we are not going to be apart this time. We are now making positive plans to be together, and I am determined not to let this be another affair like before, but an actual relationship that I want. He is different and has shown up as the new person I have created him to be in my reality. So don't give up. Yes, I have been to hell and back like many of you, but Sophia's mentoring and tough love got my person back in my life and in my arms again. As Sophia said, it's not over until you decide it is. No one and nothing else. Thank you again, Sophia, with all my heart. I know we have a long way to go, and it will probably get hard going as our spouses are involved here too. But in my script, there are no more obstacles and things are going to plan. And as I continue to script it, as I continue to script it and affirm it to be. Namaste. Beautiful. So, strict mental diet. You have to persist on your strict mental diet if you want to see results. If you are affirming and you are still going back into the negative, the old story, okay, your dominant thoughts will be the reality you keep seeing. Like this lady said, she thought she was being positive, she was throwing her affirmations in, but she was still dwelling in the negative story, looking back at the old story, okay? So start by listening to the Get Them Back playlist. If you don't want mentoring, okay, it is there to help you either get somebody back in your life, get somebody new in your life, or to even recreate the relationship you're already in. If you're living with somebody and they have become, you know, not how you want them to be, you can change it. I do it all the time with my husband, okay? I change him all the time if I need to. You're not going feral in my movie, okay? So I change things. So it is hard getting rid of the old negative Nancy story, okay? It is hard. I'm not going to deny that, okay? But when I do the mentoring, you know, obviously I can't change my clients' way of thinking. You know, I can't watch what they're thinking. Okay, I can't be there inside their minds 24/7 saying, you know, why did you just have that thought? Oh no, here we go again. Back to negative Nancy. No, you have to be on your strict mental diet. All I'm doing is giving you sort of some background information as to why our thoughts create, like I've put on my new channel and in the Get Them Back playlist for you. And also, you know, everyone is you pushed out, and I explain that why, and also the self-concept video, because that is the basis of how we change things in our life, or why things stay the same and we keep going through the same patterns, okay? Also, it is there to show you where your blocks are and your resistance, why you aren't seeing anything happen. You can change yourself and you can change people, because everything in your reality is what you are choosing to believe in and what you are assuming to be true. That is a fact. That is how the universe works. There's no sidestepping it. You can make it as difficult or as easy as you want, okay? That is the bones of it. So, like this lady did, got caught up in the twin flame thing. You know, yes, I'm not saying that twin flames don't exist, but spirit is not there keeping you apart. At the end of the day, it is something you've read. How do you know it is 100% true? Like my spirit guides, when I'm doing the readings, have told me, stop with the labels now. Stop twin flame soulmate karmics. If you desire somebody, they are yours until you decide you don't want them anymore. When you withdraw your energy from them, they will go. If you decide you want them back and you attach your energy to them again, they will come back to you. Okay, they are still in your reality because you are choosing to keep them in your reality. Just like if you're focusing on a karmic, okay, let's go back to the karmic label. If you're focusing on a karmic situation or person, the more you focus on them, the more they are burning brightly in your reality. So withdraw your energy from them. If you keep going over it and over it and over it, it is going to persist. You've got to be on your new strict mental diet, going into the state and the reality of how you do want to be with your partner or person and changing it. You change things, not your person, not you. Because if you're waiting for them to change, the outside world to change, and you haven't changed from within and you're still going into your negative story, things are not going to change how you want them to be. Yes, you can finger wag, you can react, okay? But if you are not creating your new reality, you are not going to see the reality you want. Like she said, he's totally different. Okay, she's not going to let it go into another affair willy-nilly, okay? No, he's my man. He's my man only, okay? And the affirmations she has are to bring him to her as her new partner, not as an extra in his movie or him as an extra in hers, okay? She's no longer playing the victim in her own movie. She did do, but she got out of it again. So everything you hold in your reality is based on either the negative story you keep telling yourself or the positive one. So look at the story you're telling yourself, because like I say, it is not over between you and anything or anyone you desire until you say it is. Love and light.